came out with pretty good energy. I'm guessing you probably liked the first period and then rallied back at the end. So overall, I'm sure you're pretty happy with the effort.
Yeah, I'm really happy for the players. I think to get a win at home in that fashion, I think is a huge boost for the group. I think this group's been through a lot over the last 3 weeks or so, and to come home and have that kind of start, and that was something that was a point of emphasis for obvious reasons. The last couple of games, it hasn't been our best. We wanted to try to get momentum right away, and I thought we competed pretty hard. Give Boston credit, they fought back, and they're a good team. But I loved our fight. I thought we just stayed with it in the third period. We found a way to get the tying goal, and then obviously Robbie makes a great play in overtime. I was happy for him, so I couldn't be more happy for the players. I think they deserve that one.
It seems like a lot of the young guys, you mentioned Robertson getting the winning goal, Burrell has the assist on the JT goal, it was the Cooley, Lava, Hoffman line that gets the first goal. I mean, as far as getting those contributions from the young guys, like how important is that, especially just looking forward to the rest of the season, the situation you guys are in, to give those guys opportunities and see them flourish with them?
Yeah, it's great. I think when we can infuse our lineup with youth and energy, I think it bodes well for us moving forward. I think Gabe has done a great job playing with Mika and JT. You can see his offensive instincts. I think he's getting more comfortable with the game with each game that he plays and the experience that he gets. But he has the instincts to play with those guys, and I think it's evident. That pass he made to JT is that's an elite play. There's a lot of guys that don't have the vision or the skill set to execute the play, and it was a really smart play on his part, but just the vision to see it. So we're real excited about the progress he's made. Lobs is continuing to grow and develop, and he brings a speed game. I think when he plays with Will Cooley, those two guys, I think, have a pretty good north-south game, a speed game. They're fairly reliable defensively, so they can play on both sides of the puck. We have no issues playing them against anyone, so I think he's continuing to progress. Robbie's been pretty good on the blue line for us. He has pretty good offensive instincts also. You could see it in the goal. His mobility, I think, is one of his biggest strengths, and so some of these young guys are, they continue to grow and develop.
With Gabe in particular, just the consistent opportunity, do you believe that is a big factor in the steps he's been taking? Like it's a consistent line for a little bit now, it's consistently getting, and it looks like he's now more consistently looking to make plays.
Yeah, I'm sure consistency helps. I think consistency of ice time is I think the important element of it. But I do think just consistency helps with any player. And so with Gabe in particular, and he's playing with two of our leaders that I think have taken them under their wing, so to speak. But they also recognize his ability and his talent level, and so I think those guys like playing with him, and I think they're great mentors for him. But I do think just consistency of playing time and watching him grow. And as I said to you guys all along, when we're introducing young players into the league, what we're looking for, what I'm looking for most of the time is a player overwhelmed. Because if a player is, it's not in his best interest to continue to be underwater, so to speak, and get overwhelmed by the game if it's too fast, if it's too strong, if whatever it may be. And so we try to watch for that when our young players go into the lineup, and sometimes the only way you find that out is you put them in the lineup and you wait and you see and you watch. If the young players are not getting overwhelmed, and they're learning through the experiences, there's going to be growing pains along the way. That's part of the process. But my biggest thing that I always try to look for is just making sure that we protect the young players to a certain extent by not allowing them to get overwhelmed, because it's just not in their best interest from a development standpoint. It can actually set them back. It affects confidence levels, and I've seen it happen on a number of different occasions over the course of the last 20-something years that I've been coaching in this league. So with Gabe in particular, he's gone through a process this year where, he was started in the top 6, and his first call up, we felt like he was a little bit overwhelmed. The next call up, we moved him into the top 9. We felt like he had a comfort level there. And as he continues to get experience, we've moved him back up into the top 6, and he seemed to be able to handle it to this point. And so that's what I look for when we're trying to infuse these guys into the lineup, regardless of who the player is or what position they play.
What did you see in Matthew Robertson's development? I take it some of which you just described applies to him.
Same thing. We've moved Robbie around our depth chart on the blue line. He's been in the third pair at times. He's getting top 4 minutes at times. Obviously the fact that he's out there in overtime suggests that we have a certain level of confidence that that we trust him to the point where, we feel like his play is deserving of being in those situations. And so, but it's the same thing. We have conversations as a coaching staff constantly with respect to these guys and, game to game on where they're at. And, if we feel like they're having a night or they're playing well, then we try to reward them and move them up accordingly. If we feel like there's a night where, hey, it's just been a struggle for them or whatever, or we think their confidence might be rattled a little bit, then maybe we move them down or we make adjustments. But we're always trying to watch for that stuff. In a lot of ways, we think we're trying to be proactive to just help the process so those young players continue to grow and develop.
Mike, he's not a young guy anymore, but Jonathan gets a win for the first time in a very long time. I know you're happy for the guys, but you just say a couple words on how happy you might be.
I'm thrilled for Quickie. Not only does he get a win, but this win, if I'm not mistaken, moves him into 12th place ahead of Glenn Hall for all-time wins as a goaltender in the NHL, which is an incredible achievement. And I just think that speaks volumes for his body of work in this league. He means a lot to this team. He's a great leader. He competes extremely hard. He's one of the more popular guys in our dressing room for good reason. I just think all of us that are part of this team have so much respect for what he's accomplished in this game and his passion for the game, and he continues to strive for excellence every single day. His work ethic is impressive to watch day in and day out, and I think that speaks to his ability to play at such a high level, at the age that he's at. That's not easy to do, and so couldn't be happier for him because he's competing hard for us.
Thank you.
One more question.
You talked so much about a readiness to play. Just what did you feel was different in your team's start tonight?
Well, it's a good question because, you'd like to think every game you go into, you're ready to play from the drop of the puck, but some nights it just appears it's not always the case. And that's the human element of it. I just think a readiness for me always starts with a mindset going in and where you're at as a group. And so, you just talking about simplifying the game, playing the game a certain way, giving ourselves a chance to get into the game, get everybody on the ice, and start to get into the game so their adrenaline can get going and then they can play, on their emotions. And so when you look at some of the games we've had most recently, we're either taking a penalty the first shift in or the second shift in, or we give up a goal in the first 20 seconds, and it puts you on your heels. It's a tough way to start a game. And so, just allowing ourselves an opportunity to get into the game, get into the flow, get everybody on the ice, simplifying it, playing north-south, those are some of the things that we talked about. But I do think a readiness really starts before the puck is even dropped. It starts with a mindset and your intentions, when you step onto that ice.
What's the feeling scoring that goal for you?
Yeah, I was super excited. We needed the win, so I think that was the biggest part, just to finally get the win.
It's 10 minutes after the game. Do you think about your journey to get here, to have
a moment like this?
I do, yeah. I remind myself, honestly, as much as I can, just how hard it is to get here and just to keep pushing because, I mean, you can go back to where I was easily. You can get sent down at any time. So I think for me, it's just to try and get better each day and not take any day for granted.
There's been a lot of things going on with this team. You guys go out to California, couldn't win. Tonight you're down in the third period. What does it say about this group that you guys were able to come back and get this win?
Yeah, I mean, we faced a lot of adversity this year, and I think just to take it day by day, shift by shift, I think that's all we can do. Not control or not worry about the outside noise, but just focus on ourselves and try and get better.
What were the emotions for you when you were set?
Yeah, honestly, I just blacked out and just smiled. I was excited, and I mean, it's huge for us just to get the win.
Just the response too from your teammates, just the big group hug at the end and everything. Just what were the emotions for you and the feelings?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of got trampled there in the corner, so I mean, I think the boys were pretty excited. I think many guys saw me scoring there, so I was super excited.
What were you trying to do on the ice when you scored that goal?
I was honestly skating up, and I was gonna pull back and delay, but then I thought I had a step from the guy and just kind of blacked out from there.
And just to kind of go back to what it means to get a win like this for your group, the response that you showed in the first period and the third period again, and then to get the momentum in your favor and get the overtime winner.
Yeah, I think it was huge. Just facing some adversity, some resilience from our group, I think it was huge moving forward.
I think you guys had 34 hits as well tonight, so just to match the physicality in the way that you did, what goes into an effort like that?
Yeah, I mean, for us to win, I think we got to play a physical north-south game, and we did that tonight.
Yeah, it's just a hard-fought game. I think shots were even. You know, everybody had a power play or two, and yeah, really happy for Robbie to come up with that. You know, that was a special moment for him.
Did you think at all about the last time you played this team? Was that motivation for you at all, or did you just kind of not think about it?
Yeah, I mean, you always owe a team when you let in as many as we did, but at the end of the day, we just have, you know, business as usual. We need to take care of the game in front of us, and I think we came in with a good mindset today. You know, we can't sit around and feel bad for ourselves. We need to attack and go forward, and if you're going to make mistakes, make them playing hard. And, you know, I thought for the most part today we played a pretty solid game. It was a hard-fought game. You know, they've been playing pretty well this year, so, you know, they're a good team, so I think we should feel good about this win.
What do you think about your start? I know on the road trip you were alluding to the fact that you guys were coming out ready to play, but maybe the urgency wasn't there.
Yeah.
What was different tonight?
Just a little more attention to detail. I think we came out with urgency, just the attention to detail that led to mistakes, to giving teams juice out at the beginning of the game. You know, I thought we were a little more detailed today. Obviously, I know, just like I said, it's just a hard-fought game. You know, both teams played a good game, and it's fitting that it came to overtime, and anything can happen. Like I said, I'm just super happy for Robbie to get that.
What does it do for your group as well, just to win the game in the way that you did, and to do a lot of things well to get the win?
Yeah, especially to come back in the third. You know, I mean, that just threw a lot of pucks at the net tonight. You know, we had pucks and bodies. I mean, 2 of the 3 goals were good examples of that, just shooting pucks with sticks and people. And I just think we should, you know, try to enjoy this, but also feel hungry going into the next one, not just sit back and realize that we got to win. I think it's important that we carry this momentum into this week before the break. I think we have, you know, 3 or 4 more games before the break, so let's try to, you know, end on a good note before February comes.
JT, is there a feeling of just kind of savoring these last few days that you might have this group together?
To be honest with you, I try to think about it. It is what it is at this point. You know, we have a close group in here. This isn't the position any of us thought we were going to be in, you know, at the start of the season, but it's a business, and we're just trying to treat it like normal days. You know, we have a lot of fun together in this room, so I don't think we're worried about that. We're just going to go day to day.
Any sweeter beating the Bruins after what happened the last time we played them?
Yeah, like I said earlier, like it's nice to, you know, feel like you need to respond anytime the team puts up that many against you. But I think that, like I said, we're more worried about our day-to-day process and how we can get a win. They haven't been coming much lately, and I think that was just a little boost of confidence, hopefully, for the group today.
Just Matthew.
Last one, guys.
Just Matthew Robertson obviously gets the overtime winner. Gabe Perreault assists yours. Just to see the way these younger guys are trying to pull their weight, trying to get better. I mean, what impresses you about the way they've been playing lately?
Yeah, I mean, we need guys like that to chip in. You know, Robbie's come so far in his game this year. You know, I think he might not get as much credit offensively. I think he's got some game, like offensively. Like I think he can make some plays, and I thought you can obviously see that. I mean, that to slip a guy like that, and like that's a high-end play today. So to see it get rewarded for that's nice. And you know, I think that Gabe is like just really coming along. Like he makes a lot of plays away from the puck, and I think that that's just. You know, when you're that age, it's all about earning a leash. I've been in that position, and you know, he takes care of the puck. He does what he's supposed to, and You know, he has that ability right there today to make high-end plays too that, you know, we've seen up to this level. So I'm happy for them. Like, they're big parts of our team, and I'm sure they're only going to get better with more experience.